London just witnessed one of the biggest political blunders in recent history, and it came straight from Sadiq Khan himself. When King Charles made an unexpected move that broke 70 years of royal tradition, Khan's reaction didn't just backfire, it triggered a political earthquake across the UK. What followed over the next 72 hours left Londoners stunned, Labour headquarters in chaos, and even Khan's closest allies quietly polishing their phase. Stay tuned, because this story reveals what the mainstream media won't dare to tell you. Just 3 days ago, King Charles did something no modern monarch had ever done. At exactly 9:15 on Tuesday morning, Buckingham Palace released a statement that took the nation by surprise. The king would personally open royal estates to house British families struggling with homelessness. His message was clear and direct. While hard-working British families sleep in temporary shelters, we hold resources that should serve the nation. Most politicians would have praised the king for such a bold act of compassion, but not Sadiq Khan. Instead, he went on the offensive and declared war. Barely 2 hours later, Khan called a sudden press conference outside City Hall. At 11:47 a.m., in front of a stunned crowd of journalists, he launched into a fiery tirade that left reporters audibly gasping. King Charles thinks he can stroll into London politics and play savior. This is performative charity from a billionaire family sitting on stolen wealth. London doesn't need royal handouts. We need the crown to pay their fair share in taxes, he said. But he didn't stop there. Khan went further, attacking the very foundation of the monarchy. For 300 years, the royal family has extracted wealth from this city while ordinary Londoners have suffered. If Charles wants headlines, I'll give him headlines. Return the wealth you've hoarded or stay out of London's business. The backlash was instant. Conservative MPs erupted. Labour's own shadow cabinet distanced themselves. Even some long-time anti-monarchists said Khan had crossed a line. And here's where it gets devastating. While Khan was busy throwing political punches, real British heroes were struggling just miles from his office. James Morrison, a 71-year-old veteran of the Falklands War, is living in a damp mold covered flat in Lewisham. "I fought for this country," he said, tears in his eyes, "and now I can barely afford to live in it." Margaret Fletcher, 68, spent over 4 decades as an NHS nurse. She's now sleeping on her daughter's sofa because her £642 monthly pension can't cover rent. "I gave my life to this city's hospitals," she told reporters. "Where's Sadiq Khan's housing plan for people like me?" These aren't isolated stories. They represent thousands of veterans, nurses, and workers across London struggling to survive. And while they suffer, Khan enjoys a taxpayer-funded salary of over £150,000 a year, along with chauffeured cars, private security, and luxury travel, all paid for by the public. So when King Charles offered real solutions, not sound bites, Khan chose to attack instead of collaborate. And that's when the story took an even more unbelievable turn. At 4:33 p.m. yesterday, during a routine garden party at Buckingham Palace, King Charles did something no one expected. He stepped forward with an unscheduled address, breaking royal protocol in front of 300 stunned guests. With calm but unmistakable conviction, he said, "For those who question royal duty, let me be clear. This monarchy exists to serve Britain, not to engage in political theater with those who mistake publicity for leadership." The crowd erupted in applause that lasted 4 minutes. Insiders say Charles personally rewrote his remarks just hours earlier, defying senior advisors who urged him to remain silent. One palace aide described him as absolutely resolute, more determined than we've seen since the Queen's passing. And those final words, "those who mistake publicity for leadership," weren't just aimed at politicians. They were a direct, devastating response to Khan himself. The result was immediate. Within 90 minutes of the King's speech, over £847 million was pledged by private donors to the Royal Housing Initiative. 17 major British companies joined the palace-backed housing effort, and developers across southeast England offered land at cost for veterans' housing projects. Meanwhile, City Hall stayed silent. No counterplan, no matching funds, no action. Public opinion swung hard and fast. Polls showed that 68% of Londoners supported King Charles's intervention, while only 19% backed Khan's response. Even in Labour's traditional strongholds like Newham and Tower Hamlets, Khan's support collapsed overnight, dropping by more than 20 points. This wasn't just a royal speech, it was a turning point. King Charles reminded Britain what leadership looks like, and in doing so exposed a mayor more focused on politics than people. But what happens next could change British politics forever. Stay tuned because the next 48 hours will be crucial. If you want to see how this story unfolds, hit subscribe, drop a like, and let me know in the comments. Do you think the king was right to step in, or did he go too far? 71% of Londoners now say they trust King Charles more than Sadiq Khan to solve the city's housing crisis. On social media, the hashtag #DefendTheKing dominated global trends for 36 straight hours, racking up over 4.7 million mentions. Outside City Hall, protesters flooded the streets chanting "Khan must go," until police finally dispersed the crowd just after midnight. But beneath all the noise, there's a deeper layer to this story, one that could end Sadiq Khan's political career entirely. Leaked documents from inside the mayor's own policy unit have surfaced, and they tell a story that completely contradicts everything Khan has said publicly. Internal City Hall projections, dated just 2 weeks before the king's announcement, estimated that royal involvement could provide homes for 12,000 London families within 18 months. That's not speculation. That's from Khan's own experts. The leaked spreadsheet shows that City Hall's best housing proposal could only support about 4,200 families over 2 years, and it would cost taxpayers £340 million. Meanwhile, the royal plan would help 3 times as many families in less time and at zero cost to the public. One of Khan's top advisors, Dr. Patricia Okafor, even wrote an internal memo warning that rejecting the king's offer would be, quote, politically suicidal and morally indefensible. Yet, Khan attacked the plan anyway. Think about that. He deliberately undermined a program that his own team said would help thousands of struggling Londoners, all because he couldn't bear the thought of King Charles succeeding where he had failed. It wasn't about policy, it was about ego. If this leak is verified, the consequences could be catastrophic. We're talking about potential resignation, a misconduct investigation, and the complete collapse of his political future. Inside Labour headquarters on Southwark Street, the mood is being described as a 5-alarm crisis. Senior party officials are reportedly shouting at each other behind closed doors, desperate to contain Khan's disaster. Members of the shadow cabinet are allegedly threatening to quit unless party leadership publicly distances itself from him. Deputy Mayor Sophie Linden was reportedly overheard saying, "He's finished, we all know it. The only question is how much damage he does before he's forced out." Even Khan's own chief of staff, Nick Bowes, allegedly had a screaming match with him over what he called suicidal political instincts. Meanwhile, 3 junior advisors have quietly updated their LinkedIn profiles. A telltale sign they're preparing to jump ship. Khan himself appears increasingly isolated. Sources claim he's been pacing his office late at night, glued to social media, watching his approval ratings collapse in real time. Emergency calls between Khan and Labour leader Keir Starmer have reportedly become so tense that staff could hear shouting through the doors. At one point, Starmer is said to have yelled, "You've made my job impossible. How am I supposed to campaign on respecting British institutions when my London mayor is attacking the king?" While Labour implodes, Nigel Farage and Reform UK have seized the moment, positioning themselves as defenders of British tradition. Appearing on GB News, Farage spoke with the calm confidence of a man who knows opportunity when he sees it. "Sadiq Khan has shown us exactly what Labour really thinks about Britain," he declared. "They despise our monarchy. They despise our traditions. They despise the very identity that makes us British." And clearly, his message hit home. Reform UK's membership applications from London residents surged by 340% in just 72 hours. Donations poured in, mostly small contributions, averaging £47 from ordinary working people furious about what they see as Khan's attack on Britishness itself. For the first time in modern history, Reform UK is now competitive in inner London boroughs that haven't voted Conservative in decades. Candidates are being recruited in every constituency, and 3 Labour councillors have already defected, publicly citing disgust with Khan's anti-British agenda. Polls show the shift clearly. If a London mayoral election were held today, Khan's support would drop to just 31%. The Conservative candidate climbs to 28% and Reform UK surges to 26%. A three-way race, a fractured capital, and a potential political realignment that could hand Britain's most important city to populist forces for the first time ever. And the international reaction hasn't been any kinder. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau praised King Charles's commitment to tackling homelessness in the Commonwealth, a remark widely seen as a polite jab at Khan. Australia's opposition leader, Peter Dutton, didn't bother with politeness. He called Khan's comments a disgrace to the Commonwealth and an insult to constitutional monarchy. New Zealand's Prime Minister Christopher Luxon added, "Attacking charitable works because of who performs them reveals character flaws unsuitable for leadership." Even American political commentators are now weighing in, and none of it is good news for the Mayor of London. Even the international media has jumped in, and it's not looking good for Sadiq Khan. Fox News aired a segment titled, "London's Radical Mayor Declares War on King Charles." CNN's global affairs analyst called the situation an unprecedented constitutional clash that damages Britain's image as a stable democracy. In just a matter of days, one man's ego-driven outburst has shaken Britain's reputation for calm, responsible leadership. 2 major international property developers have already paused billion-pound projects in London, citing concerns over political stability. That means jobs lost, investment delayed, and an economic hit that could take years to recover from. But here's the part almost no one is talking about, and it's explosive. According to multiple insider reports, senior civil servants within the Greater London Authority are quietly preparing contingency plans for Khan's possible removal from office. Under the Greater London Authority Act, a sitting mayor can be removed if he's found to have brought the office into disrepute or acted against London's best interests. Legal teams are now reviewing whether Khan's refusal to cooperate with the Royal Housing Initiative, a project proven to help thousands, could qualify as exactly that. One high-ranking GLA officer, speaking anonymously, said this, "We've never had to consider this before, but if the mayor keeps blocking royal housing efforts out of personal spite, we may have no choice but to explore constitutional options." Let that sink in. Sadiq Khan isn't just facing political rivals anymore. He's now facing rebellion from within his own administration. His civil servants reportedly believe he's actively harming the very city he was elected to protect. And the timing couldn't be worse. The next 96 hours are critical. King Charles is set to visit 3 London boroughs next week to officially open new housing projects, the very ones Khan has refused to support. The mayor's office has confirmed he won't attend any of these royal events, marking a public split the likes of which Britain hasn't seen in generations. Meanwhile, Labour leader Keir Starmer faces an impossible choice. Does he publicly rebuke Khan and risk alienating his London base, or stay silent and appear weak on defending Britain's most cherished institution, the monarchy? Not since the abdication crisis of 1936 has the relationship between the crown and elected officials been questioned so openly. The last time, a king gave up his throne. This time, it could be a mayor losing his career. So the real question is this: does Sadiq Khan survive? Did King Charles just end his political future with 12 carefully chosen words? Or did Khan's reckless attack simply remind Britain how deeply the people still love their monarchy? Tell me what you think. Will Khan resign before he's forced out? Or will his own civil servants use constitutional powers to remove him? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We read every single one, and this conversation matters now more than ever. And if this story shocked you, share it. People deserve to know what's really happening inside British politics right now. Because tomorrow, we'll reveal the next wave of leaked documents. Proof that Khan's own advisors knew his attack would backfire from the very start. What they said behind closed doors will change everything. This is just the beginning of the biggest political earthquake London has seen in half a century. Stay tuned, you won't believe what comes next.